am Isabella Birch Reynardson. I am from our UK private office at Savills, and I look after what we call super prime lettings across London. Today I'm joined by Tim, who is the founder of EYOS, an extraordinary expedition and adventure company, I'm going to say.
That's right.
Who create these wonderful experiences, and I will let you explain a bit more about what you guys do.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's beautiful to be here in this lovely apartment. EYOS specializes in organizing travel to some of the most extreme destinations on Earth. We organize expeditions, but we organize incredibly comfortable expeditions using super yachts as a platform, as a base camp to explore these very hard to reach areas. So yeah, we take people to incredible places from pole to pole, very remote tropical islands, skiing, diving, seeing wildlife, and having incredible experiences. So I imagine our clients are probably the same people, and at the same time they're seeking out beautiful homes, they're seeking out really incredible experiences. So it's great to be able to talk about it.
So Tim, tell me, obviously you and your team create the most amazing experiences for your clients. Where are people going? Where are they off to these days?
Well, we organise expeditions literally to the ends of the earth, pole to pole, just about everywhere in between. And we have a seasonality. So in the spring,
Same as us.
We're working towards the summer season, which is spent in the Arctic, places like Norway, Svalbard, Greenland, heli skiing in the spring on the coast of Greenland, perhaps Iceland, into the Canadian Arctic. And then we have a southern season around the Antarctic, which is the austral summer, our winter. And at this time of year, some are planning ahead for their holiday season during the winter, and we're also getting some last-minute requests for the Arctic season, which is just coming up. So we work on a variety of timescales, from last-minute requests, which we do our best to respond to those that choose to plan their travel, a couple of years ahead, and really do make that effort to book the prime weeks.
That's actually so similar to us, because we find that a lot of our clients now are reverting back to how it was a few years ago, where actually they're booking things out much further in advance, which is great for us, because at any one time now across London, up to 70% of our stock can be off market, and actually it gives us that time. If you're seeking something out or creating something, you then have so much more time to make sure that's the right fit for your client. You're actually, as well as being a founder, you've been a guide, you're a big diver. How does that play into, presumably it's quite a big help to your clients that you've been there, done that sort of thing?
Well, that's the great thing. I think our clients really appreciate the fact when they call us to talk about where they may go on their travel, then they're not talking to an agent, they're talking to expedition personnel. Our whole team it comes from the field. So when a client calls, makes an inquiry, they're talking to people that have actually been to these places, guided in these places, and know exactly where you should go if you want to achieve a certain thing. And I imagine it's the same in your business, where you have clients looking for a home and they need to speak to a local that really knows the area.
And for us as well, so much as, I think people look across so many different areas now. So as well as different architecture, you've got to know, again, it goes back to understanding really the criteria of a search, because we even ask, do you walk to work, or how does that work? Do you like to eat out, or do you host people quite a lot? It's understanding that, and again, as you say, it's a specialist that understands where you can get those sort of elements across the city, and knowing the city is so important for us.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about was, we find a lot with our, our mantra is client for life.
Absolutely.
And we have, me in particular, I have clients that I met when we were both a lot younger. We may have found their first, one-bedroom flat that we were looking for at that time, and then now they're in their beautiful family home and looking for something else overseas. And it's such an exciting thing to be a part of with your clients. Do you find the same thing with your experiences? Because obviously, I'm sure they change dramatically over the lifetime of that client and their time with you.
Absolutely. The client will find us searching for a specific destination, and then during that trip, the conversation often moves to where you could go next. And once people discover this way of traveling, which is just such an incredible way to travel aboard a private yacht, you're floating home to places that are incredibly hard to get to. Where can I go next? So we might take somebody to the Antarctic for a first trip, and then, actually I'd like to go and see polar bears in the Arctic. And then it's, you can go diving in Papua New Guinea. That sounds incredible too. So it's wonderful as that conversation develops, and we help clients discover these places they perhaps had never considered going to.
I tend to find as well that obviously quality of product is so important for our clients and for our tenants as well. The sort of search parameters are much wider for us. They'll go for the house or the flat, which is a great thing when we cover all these amazing different areas. But also I think it comes down to really mirroring a lot of your business about experience. And as much as you might take the sort of, beautiful apartment of which we are sitting in one today, you also, it's got to be, without making it sound boring, it's got to be functional, but it's got to be, the overarching thing is it's got to be a great experience. It's got to make sense and it's got to be enjoyable. These things, especially from the lettings perspective, these are moments in time and we need to make sure that they are, they tick all the right boxes for the clients. How do you find in your business the trade-off between quality and experience? If you had to say which one they lean to, could you, or is it the two?
I think our clients are sometimes prepared to compromise on the quality of the yacht if it allows them to have the experiences they are seeking. Yeah. However, they're very discerning, and of course, ideally, everything would be absolutely perfect the way they'd like it to be.
Of course.
So the top yachts are incredible destinations in their own right. You hardly need to step off them to have a fantastic time. But where we use the yachts is as a tool to reach these incredible destinations. They're a base camp for adventure. So that's why sometimes you might compromise on the yacht that you are chartering in order to have it available at the right time and for it to have the capability that gets you to the place you want to explore. And that becomes particularly important in the polar regions where we're looking at things like ice capability, carrying helicopters, carrying enough fuel and provisions to reach these remote places. But the yachts themselves are incredible, and if you can tee everything up just right and have the top yacht at the best possible time of year in the most incredible location, just like your property's location is the most important because it gets you where you want to be. Yeah. So it's the same in our business.
I might steal your phrase, a base camp for adventure. I think we could say that about London property as well. It's quite a good one to use.
Base camp that's how we use the yachts, and when you have a yacht in the wilderness, and it's like a floating ski lodge in that you've got helicopters on board, helicopter pilots, ski guides. Yeah. So the clients can just come out of their beautiful accommodations on board, step into a helicopter, be whisked up into the mountains and go heli skiing or off to see polar bears, whatever it might be. But you're doing all of that from the most incredible comfort, which is one of the magic things about expedition yachting.
Presumably you don't have a sort of package product that you offer to each client. It is all bespoke. Can you explain a bit about that as well?
No, unfortunately, it's not that simple because every trip that we do is completely customized to the requirements of the client, and it's a conversation that we have either with themselves, the client directly, or their team, and we're talking about how much time they have available, what their priorities are, and how they'd like to organize the expedition. And people have vastly different requirements. For some, they're limited by time, and some are pretty much limited only by their imaginations in terms of their resources. So we can make expeditions of very different lengths, and we plan at different time frames as well. And some are put together because the client has a window to travel at relatively short notice, and some are planning these expeditions years ahead.
Again, it's so similar in terms of what we're doing, because I find that when someone comes to us and they say, whether we're relocating into London or they already live here and they need, something's happened, family growing, and there's a change, we really like to go into the sort of minutiae because it's so key to know about how you live. And it's not us being nosy, but you need to make sure your bespoke experience, we're making sure we're finding that bespoke property, so to speak. Obviously, nothing's ever perfect, but as much as we can, drilling down to it so it serves its purpose. And again, rooting back to what I said earlier, that it's a pleasant experience and a happy one, and it works. That's, I think, also for me so key. So we're very, again, aligned on that. The family element is so key for us in our market, because actually a lot of it is driven by, especially relocation into London. We've sort of seen over the years this route of educated in London for schooling and then on to wherever else, possibly America for college. We find a lot of our clients' children take that route. And so again, back to what we were saying about the life cycle, so much of it for us is about, for this period of time, proximity to school, and we had this sort of phrase we coined. It was walk to work was such a big thing, and then it became walk to school during COVID. So, which really was, it was a thing, and it continues on now. I think people want to have that local environment. It's so much about the family, as it should be, and being in that, a neighbourhood with like-minded people and sharing, as you said. So if we had to summarise for everyone who doesn't know both of our markets, if you had to give them a couple of takeaways for what's going on at the moment, what would your key points be, should we say?
Well, I think our clients have discovered that, perhaps through talking to friends, that they can reach these very remote places. And importantly, they can reach them quickly. I think a lot of our clients are very limited by the time they can spend on a travel. So to be able to move people quickly and very comfortably to a remote place, be based aboard a yacht for a relatively short period of time, and then be back at work again fairly quickly is a very nice capability. So planning really efficient travel to and from the destination is important. And our clients are booking now further ahead with more confidence and locking in those prime times when they know they have school holidays or time available to travel. So that's what we're seeing in the market. But how about you, Izzy?
Mirroring what you said, that lead time, that now that people are back to booking in, much further in advance and giving us the time to find the right thing, that's so important. No one wants to rush. I would also say quality of product, again, we've touched on today, is so important. And I think if I was going to do a third one, I would probably say something about additional services, should we say. I don't necessarily mean to have a sort of, a pool and a gym downstairs necessarily, but something, we're in a building now where they have 24-hour concierge and it's very low key here. That is a great pull for people. So that as a trend for me is something that, the additional bolt-on is so important. Well, thank you so much to you, Tim, for coming and talking to me today about all of this. It's been so interesting and I think amazing to see how much of our businesses overlap, really. And also just explaining a bit more about these sort of wonderful and extraordinary experiences that you can offer to people. I think that it is just so special what you can do, and I just, we're a huge supporter of your business.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Thank you for having us in this beautiful home.